Hey everyone, I'm Ms.Murray and welcome to Wondering Wednesday. Today's segment is going to be So You Want to Be a ... where we interview someone that is in a really interesting career. So when people ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You might have some ideas because of some of the cool people we talked to right here. So today we're going to be talking to Lydean, who does some work with graphic and production design. So let's get on with the interview. Hello everyone, I'm Ms.Murray and today is Wondering Wednesday. Today, we are here with Lydean, who is a graphic designer. Thank you for being here with us.
Thanks for having me on.
So let's go ahead and just jump into things. What exactly do you do?
So for graphic designer, people don't always realize that everything that you look at has been designed by somebody. Billboards, packaging, ads, all of that falls under graphic design. I specifically do what's called production artist or production art, which is kind of the boring part. You could call it like the data entry of graphic design. What it is, a company will have like packaging or labels made up and they need the same thing to be used all across all of their products. A lot of times what I've done is like they're changing a logo, or since I've somehow fallen into the medical industry, they have a new rule that they have to follow from the FDA or similar organizations. And so they need to change everything, or they're switching from one program to another because it'll be easier for them. So it's a lot of doing the same thing over and over again. But it gives me a chance to listen to podcasts, and I find it really easy once I know what I'm supposed to be doing.
Okay, and what inspired you to get into this type of job?
My mom was an artist. She worked at she did craft shows all the time, and my dad's an engineer. And graphic design is kind of a melding of the two. You have to have a good sense of what looks good, but you also have to be really precise and really good with computers. And I'm good with computers and I'm good at picking up new programs. So I knew I wanted to do art, and this seemed like a really good career.
Okay, so what's your favorite part of doing it?
Because I'm kind of doing the boring stuff. It's not the rock star stuff that makes a great portfolio, but they give me a pile of work to be done that day or done that week, and I just jam through it. And I can just focus and get it through. And I'm usually, once I've picked up everything, I'm often the fastest one, which is just a personal strength. And there's a lot of, you're working with your peers to check each other's work and asking questions of each other, helping each other out. So it's got enough collaboration that you're not like isolated, but enough that you're on your own that my introvert heart is like, okay, I can do this.
It always sounds to be like good jobs are the ones that keep you focused, that even though it seem boring to outsiders, but to you, you're just like, this is what I do and I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna be happy doing it. Those are sort of sometimes the best jobs to have. So you have a favorite part. What about a least favorite
part? Since I live in California, I have to say commuting, especially because I live someplace that's not real near any big cities. So oftentimes I'm renting a room and living near work during the week and then coming home during the weekend. So that sucks. But at work itself, one of the most annoying things is when people previously, they've made the files up, but they're not what I would call clean. So they have a bunch of duplicated images or duplicated objects, or they have invisible objects, or just they haven't thought ahead of what the next person picking up the file is going to have to deal with.
So sort of making sure everything's streamlined, sort of when there's that bump.
Yeah, I just, mostly I find it rude, and I think it, to me, and not all graphic designers will probably agree with me, to me, it's a sign of not being a great designer.
Right, you want to be able to be proud of whatever you pass on to the next person. That makes total sense. Okay, so what kind of training or degrees do you need to do your job?
I have a BA in art, which is what most job ads will ask for. Technically, you can do it without a BA. I mean, this is all stuff you can pick up on your own. I would say if you're going that way, there's certificates you can get, and I think those are a waste of time because it's not going to make you look any better. Just learn the stuff. You can often get into it from temping as an office worker, and then they find out, oh, you know Illustrator, and then you can slowly build up a way. It is much harder without a BA, but you can do it.
I know that we had Tara on, who was an artist. I had Tara on here, and they were talking a little bit about that, how sometimes school can feel like it's a waste of time, or the certificates can feel like a waste of time because you want to do your own, like your own type of art and sort of break out in that way. But most jobs do ask you to have that degree to help you get in the door.
I mean, I only say a certificate is a waste of time because you can learn it on your own, and it's not going to help you get the job. So why spend the money?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways that you can learn things without spending money. I mean, YouTube is one of the best ways because there's so many great people out there that, you know, give their time for free to teach people how to do stuff. So yeah, that's good. That's good advice there.
I mean, I think the majority of the people I know, you know, they ended up doing jobs that aren't related to their degree. So what you study may not end up being what you're doing.
That is very true. My boyfriend's in that he works in a call center, but he has a degree in political science. So I know that definitely happens for a lot of people, unless you get something specialized. Like I have a specialized degree in education, so that's obviously what I would go into. But a lot of people don't do that. So, okay. So what advice would you have for any aspiring graphic artists or graphic designers?
I would say, I mean, keep your files clean. Think of when you're going to have to pick it up later, because a lot of times you end up revisiting them, and that's, you know, you're wasting time. Learn as many keyboard shortcuts as you can. It speeds things up a lot. I've known people who don't know, like, Control X and Control V, and I'm like, that's the same again for everyone on the computer. I made notes. Be organized. A lot of times I end up sort of being the organizing person because I will keep track of things in Excel, and some people don't know how to organize or don't know how to have a good file system. Once you're in a bigger company, they usually have a set file system, but in a small one, it's like, let's make it easy to find things.
What programs do you use? I should have asked that a little earlier.
Yeah.
What programs do you work
Mostly I use Adobe Illustrator and Adobe InDesign, a little bit of Photoshop. With what I'm doing, some companies will have specialized packaging or labeling programs. They're all about the same. They all have their own little quirks. They're usually not that hard to pick up. That's the other advice. When you're starting a job, take lots and lots of notes and refer to your notes and the procedures they give you or guidelines they give you. Because I've had some coworkers, bless their heart, who keep asking me the same questions over and over again. I'm like, did you not write this down? You should have written this down. It's in the procedure. And that type of person ends up being kind of annoying and frustrating for the other coworkers. Whereas if you're the person who's not making the same mistakes over and over again, or not having to ask the same questions over and over again, people don't mind helping you out. When they can tell that you're doing your very best to learn everything, so that then you can be a resource for people coming in, or, you know, people, you'll find things that other coworkers don't know. People really appreciate that. So that's sort of those soft skills of the interpersonal skills. Let's see.
A lot of the stuff you just said are things that sometimes kids that I teach get annoyed about: taking notes, being organized. Like, us teachers try to give them these tools to be like, this is how you do this, this, and this, so you can be successful later. But they don't realize that later doesn't mean, 7th, 8th, 9th grade. It means for the workplace.
Well,
so
I have ADHD, and wasn't diagnosed till I was an adult, till I was 30. And if I had picked up those organizing skills later, it would have helped a lot, even in 11th, 12th grade in college. It could have made my life a lot easier just to start. So if you can get that foundation first, kids, not to preach, but if you can pick those skills up and make them a habit, which is really hard when you have ADHD or other things that make your life difficult. But if you can start making that a habit, it'll start coming natural. And also you'll notice, oh, I already have all this organized. I can just get this done real quick.
It makes things a lot easier, and it sort of saves time from the anxiety I know some people can get based off of their whatever happens to be going on. Like, I know that sometimes I can be, if I have something organized and ready to go, the fact that you can just sort of be like, okay, focus, we can get to this now.
Yeah.
So those are important foundations to have.
I mean, and especially when you're starting a new job, there's usually there's things you have to do. I mean, especially where I end up doing medical, and there's so many rules, and they're set by organizations, and if you don't do them, everything will get sent back and the company could get fined. But even if you're working for other companies, they'll have guidelines, and there's a reason for the guideline. Usually, sometimes it's just arbitrary, and then you just do it because that's what they want.
It's always good to make sure you're following you're technically working for a customer, so you want to make sure that you're doing everything to their specifications. So we all want to make people happy in the end, right?
The other thing I would say for people who are starting out, diversify your skills as much as possible. I don't have any web skills, and I get recruiters calling me, oh, you can program for this website. I'm like, no, sorry. So if you can, as you're starting out, pick up as many skills as you can. As you get further in your career, you'll probably specialize. But if you can have that broad base, it makes it a lot easier to get work.
Okay, that's good advice. Always broaden your horizons in some way. Makes you more appealing to different recruiters and things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if I can give a piece of general advice that's not graphic design related, this is one it's kind of a bugaboo, I guess. It's something I give all the time. If you're not desperate to get out of your parents' house, go to community college first. If you are desperate to get out of your parents' house, do anything you can to get out, because there's probably a good reason for that. But you save a lot of money. You can sort of mess around a little bit and figure out what you actually want to do. You can try things out and be like, oh, I thought I wanted to go into anthropology. It turns out I hate it. that sort of thing. But mostly it's that you save money, and it's sort of a stepping stone. The jump from high school to college can be really, really big, because no offense to teachers who are awesome. In high school, they babysit you a little bit. They kind of nag you of, okay, you need to do this. These are the steps you need to do. In college, they expect you to have that. So in community college, they will give you more of that, okay, you need to do this first and then this. And so it's a good way of breaking down what you need to do and getting it into your head, so that when you go on, get your BA or your bachelor's, or go on further, then you can be like, oh, I know what to do. And also never be afraid to go and talk to your teacher and say, or your professor or whatever, and say, I need a little bit more time. Usually they will accommodate you because they want you to succeed.
That is very true. Everything you just said is very true, because that's the path I took myself. Community college to a 2-year, to a 2-year, 4-year, or I don't even remember. It was so long ago. But it's that's exceptionally good advice. Because there's nothing wrong with going to community college. And I know a lot of people look down on it when they really shouldn't, because it's a good way to save money.
Well, the community college I went to, there was someone who had gone to an art institute and then came to this community college to get more like real life practice. So, a lot of community colleges have great departments. They have great professors. Their professors know their stuff. And because a lot of times you have a more diverse student group, you'll have people from all ages. You can learn from the other students, especially the ones who are older, who already have some job experience.
That was one of the most fun things was being in a class with people that were 18 and some people that were 55. Like, it was just such a cool dynamic with that. And I think I went to Northern Virginia Community College right here, and that's actually where our future First Lady teaches currently, which is a pretty cool thing. And it's a great school, and there are great community colleges all over. So it's a good thing to think about. Yeah. Okay, so my next thing is my lightning round, which I stole from a podcast. And these are just some random questions. I'm going to read them, wait for your answer, and then move right on to the next one. So, are you ready? Okay. If you could visit any place in the world, where would it be?
I actually don't like traveling very much. I'm really a homebody, but I'd like to go to Disney World.
That is an awesome place, but I'm not going to get off topic with Disney World. That's one of my favorite places. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Teleportation. California, there's a lot of driving. If I could just jump from here to my grandpa's without driving for 8 hours, that'd be so awesome.
Yes, that would be awesome. Favorite superhero?
Nightcrawler.
Favorite movie?
Adorable. Favorite movie? It's hard to decide based on what I've rewatched the last couple of years. I would say Johnny Dangerously.
Okay.
It's really funny.
Favorite song?
Again, hard to decide. Of the not obscure nerd stuff, I would say 7 Days to the Wolves by Nightwish.
Okay. Favorite cartoon character?
Tigra from Thundercats, the original one. Although Thundercats War is awesome.
I have not seen any Thundercats, but yeah. Favorite animal?
Tigers.
It seems like you have a mini tiger. I think I heard some meowing a little earlier, right? You're a mini one in there.
Yeah. No, shuts up. Bless her heart.
Favorite food?
Oreos.
That's a good one. Favorite drink?
Either chocolate milk is what I drink the most, or if it's really hot, I love mojitos. Either virgin or actually with rum in it.
Okay. And favorite emoji?
Keeping in mind I'm old, and I'm used to making them with the actual characters and not picking out a nice little picture. The the tongue sticking out one, because that usually matches my tone the best.
Yes, that is a good one. That's another one I use a lot. Other than the shrug one, I use that one a lot too. Okay, so that's all my questions. I really appreciate you being here. And is there any parting words? You said a lot of awesome parting words a little earlier. But anything else before we say goodbye?
Just don't be afraid to try new things. Don't feel like you have to get set in stone of, oh, I'm going to go through this career because that's what I decided, in 6th grade, and then find out, 10, 20 years later, oh, I didn't want to do this. Just, you can be flexible. You're allowed to change careers. You're allowed to change degrees. You're allowed to drop out of college and decide that you want to go to trade school. You will get a lot of advice of what you should do, and a lot of times it's wrong.
You need to do what your heart tells you to do. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will see everybody else tomorrow for Tips and Tricks Thursday. Bye.